What's up, everybody? It's JT Sports, and I'm back to you guys with another video. Now, before I begin, make sure to like the video and subscribe. I upload NFL videos daily. And also, when you subscribe, you get me one subscriber close to my goal of 10,000 subscribers. And also, make sure to hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. Now, let's get into it. My NFC North 2019 NFL draft grades. Um, like all of my other draft grade videos, I go division by division. So most of the people here only just want to see the pick or grade that I have for their team. So timestamps to each team will be down in the description down below. But if you want to and help me make more money so I can better the channel and get more monetization off this video, you can watch the whole video if you want to. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, the first team I have is the Chicago Bears. Now, the Chicago Bears, they didn't have a first or second round pick, but in the third round, they hit a home run hitter, in my opinion. 73rd overall. They took halfback out of Iowa State, David Montgomery. I'm really high on him. He's not a burner. He's not nobody who's going to burn you down the sideline, but this guy is a very solid halfback, and he's going to have a big impact on the Chicago Bears with the human joystick, Tyreek Cohen, and I'm going to draft him on my fantasy team this year. I normally don't draft rookie halfbacks because they're kind of inconsistent, but I'm going to draft David Montgomery this year. They also in round four got Riley Ridley, who is probably the best route runner out of all the wide receivers in this draft class. And then in round seven, they got cornerback Steven Denmark, who I'm very high on. A lot of people probably don't know about him because he played for Valdosta State. But I watched a lot of Valdosta State football because I know a couple of friends that play for Valdosta State University. And this guy is a very solid corner. So the grade I'm going to give the Chicago Bears is a B plus. They had a very solid draft. They didn't have a lot of picks, but they made the most of them, and that's why I'm giving them a B plus. Now, the Green Bay Packers. Now, the Green Bay Packers had a pretty solid free agency, and in the draft, I like their draft. Now, they took Rashawn Gary 12th overall. Despite what the critics say, I think Rashawn Gary was held. The film doesn't lie. Rashawn Gary had very good film. Production, I don't really care about that when it comes to Rashawn Gary because people forget that Jadeveon Clowney, his final year at South Carolina, had 3.5 sacks. So I don't really care about production. Show me the film. And Rashawn Gary was always in the backfield trying to make plays, opening up holes for other players on his team to make plays on that defensive side of the ball. But the player I love the most, right? Darnell Savage, the safety out of Maryland. Now, this guy was a late draft riser. He didn't start rising until after the NFL Combine, and a couple of weeks before, like literally 2 weeks ago, is when I literally started hearing this guy's name to be a first round candidate. And the Green Bay Packers took him 21st overall, excuse me, in the first round. Think that was a very good pick. They also selected Elton Jenkins in round two, 44th overall. He can be a starting center or an interior offensive lineman for the Green Bay Packers. And also Jay Sternberger in round three, a very good pickup for the tight end position. So overall, I really like the Green Bay Packers draft. And the grade I'm going to give the Green Bay Packers is a A. The Green Bay Packers deserve an A. They had an outstanding draft. They filled all of their needs. I really like Dexter Williams. He's going to be a very good halfback if they find a way to get him rotated in the halfback rotation. Jay Sternberger, I'm expecting a big rookie season out of him. I expect at least 40 catches and 3 touchdowns. I'm gonna set the bar there, and 500 yards receiving, which is a pretty solid stat line for a rookie tight end. Elton Jenkins, he should be able to start right away, either if he's playing center or interior offensive lineman, offensive guard. And Darnell Savage, he should also have a pretty good rookie year along with Rashawn Gary. Now, the next thing that we have, the Minnesota Vikings. Now, the Minnesota Vikings' biggest thing coming into this offseason was to address the offensive line. And in this draft, they did that. First round, 18th overall, they took Garrett Bradbury, the center out of NC State. Second round, they took Irv Smith, the tight end out of Alabama, who should be a good replacement because Kyle Rudolph is in the last year of his contract. And in the third round, they took Alexander Madison. And I'm pretty sure he's just going to be a backup running back because Latavius Murray left for the New Orleans Saints. And they also selected a wide receiver. They selected Dylan Mitchell in the 7th round. And to be honest, I think even though he hasn't played an NFL game, if he makes the roster, he's going to start over Laquan Treadwell because Laquan Treadwell has basically been a bust to this point of his career. I also like Chris Boyd, who is a little bit more of a project cornerback, but he has size, he has the length to become a pretty good cornerback. And these guys just absolutely went crazy when it came to the offensive line. These guys drafted one, two, three, three offensive linemen. So the grade I'm going to give the Minnesota Vikings might be a surprise to a lot of people, but I'm giving the Minnesota Vikings A plus. The Vikings had a phenomenal draft. They filled all of their needs, offensive line. They got a solid backup tight end. They picked up some defensive backs. They got a backup running back for Dalvin Cook. Filled all of their team needs, and when you do that, you deserve an A plus. So last team that I have on this list are the Detroit Lions. Now the Detroit Lions, they took T.J. Hawkinson, the tight end out of Iowa, with their first round pick, 8th overall. Think that's a pretty good pick there. Him and Jesse James are going to be a good, solid tight end combo. They also took this guy Tavai, the linebacker out of Hawaii, who was a tackling machine. When I was looking up his stats yesterday, I believe he had 100 tackles in 3 seasons, and 3 seasons. And somebody told me this year, I don't know if it's true, but this guy started in 9 games and had over 100 tackles in 9 games. This guy is legit. Will Harris is a good run coverage safety. Austin Bryan, I'm really high on this guy. This guy was very underrated part of that Clemson defensive line rotation. I believe he had 8.5 tackles for loss. And he was very productive during his time for Clemson, even though he didn't get a lot of attention because he was in the shadow of Christian Wilkins, Dexter Lawrence, and all the other great Clemson defensive linemen. And also Emmanuel Rouillet, the cornerback out of Penn State. I had a 2nd round grade on him. He ended up falling to the 5th round. I think that's a pretty good pick. And he's going to give Tease Tabor some competition. So the grade that I have for the Detroit Lions is A minus. The Detroit Lions, I'm giving them an A minus. These guys had a very good draft on top of a very good free agency, and they had a very good off season in general. And they're one of my most improved teams going into this NFL season, and I'm expecting them to be in the playoffs next year. If the Detroit Lions are not in the playoffs or competing for a playoff spot, I'm blaming it all on Matthew Stafford. He has a team. He has a solid offensive line. He has a solid wide receiving core. He has 2 good tight ends to throw to. He has a good running back in Kerryon Johnson. A solid defense. If Matthew Stafford isn't able to carry the Lions to the playoffs next season or lead them to the playoffs next season, I think it might be time for Matthew Stafford to be replaced. So that's it for this video. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Also, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more NFL videos and content. And thanks for watching.